Listen up, get ready, I'm not gonna take no more. There's a revolution, a revelation going on in my soul. Buckle up, get ready, we're not gonna sit back.
You're listening to the Live from the Heartland show. You might be watching the Live from the Heartland show. We're here for the week of January 25th, recording on the 18th. And I'm really honored now to bring on once again our perennial electoral analyst, the one and only Chicago's very own Don Rose. Good morning to you, Don.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. You've always been the guy I go to for the information on who's running and who's good and who's going to win. And you've hit it every time except that one time that a lot of us missed a few years back in 2016. So let's not go there. Let's just talk about the great opportunity that we have here in Chicago to elect a mayor, perhaps a new mayor.
It's a two-stage operation, most likely, and that is because the first round is February 28th, a Tuesday, of course, and if there are 9 candidates running, which makes it very hard for anybody to get 50% plus one. Assuming nobody gets 50% plus one, the top 2 candidates will run off against each other for the top job on March 6th. That's 6 weeks, a 6-week campaign from first round to second round. And most of the candidates, many of the candidates are fairly well known. And the lineup, of course, reflects name recognition and general positions. We have, of course, Lori Lightfoot running for re-election. We have Chuy Garcia, Jesus Chuy Garcia, congressman and former alderman and state senator and county commissioner, who is running and currently leading the field. I want to make sure when I talk about the positions they're in now, I really want to say that they are still largely based on name recognition, and the situation is somewhat fluid. But for the past several weeks, ever since the official start, this is where they are. So we've got Lori and Chuy Garcia. Then we have Paul Vallis, the one-time CEO of the schools here in Chicago, and who was run for governor and a few others. He ran for mayor 4 years ago and did not do very well at all, but I think he is positioning himself very well at the moment. I could talk about him in a minute.
Yeah, we will.
The other candidates, the well-known now, I think, Willie Wilson, the eccentric millionaire who passes out gasoline cards and cash to folks and has been a leading figure in the Black community because of this. He is getting, has a lot of recognition among Blacks and a lot of favorables. Then we go into the guy who should be, who is most likely to be rising from relative obscurity, and that's Brandon Johnson, who is both a member and an organizer for the Chicago Teachers Union. He has their endorsement. He is a county commissioner, a very eloquent guy known for his speech making. And he has the support of a couple of other progressive unions and a lot of money. And he is on television a lot. People who watch TV, I'm sure, have seen these very short 13 to 15-second commercials that say Brandon Johnson is going to, has a good plan for the schools and business and crime. He's a good man for Chicago, just like that, which I think is getting him known. We haven't seen any results in the polls. as yet, but because of the combination of the TV he's getting and the support of these unions, um, he is certainly going to get more than the low single digits that he's getting at the moment. So I think we have to consider him a potential contender, right up there with Vallis, who is the only white candidate and has the support of the police union. So he is.
Oh, what a surprise!
He is probably the consider and the business community. He's on the air with some money from the business community, so he's got a lot going for him beyond the personality that never went anywhere. um, so I would say those are the contenders at the moment. We have several aldermen, two aldermen. Rod Sawyer, whose father was once named mayor by the city council. He was the only unelected black mayor we had. And we have Sophia King of the 4th Ward, very close to Attorney Preckwinkle, another very progressive alderman. We're saying alderperson these days, I guess.
Yeah, we got to do that.
Got to do that. My pronouns are who and what. And
let me ask you while we're moving along here. We got a list of all these candidates. I had a couple questions came to mind. One would be, do you think that Chewy would have gotten, if he had announced earlier he was going to run, do you think he would have gotten CTU, and would Brandon Johnson have gotten in the race?
Well, the likelihood is they would have endorsed Chewy. However, they have been planning to run Brandon Johnson for 4 years. 4 years ago, they were offering their endorsement to the candidate, which included, 4 years ago, Chewy was not running, but Laurie was running and Preckwinkle was running, as you will recall. And they were offering their endorsement to the candidate who would agree to run only one term and then endorse Brandon. They want one of their own to be the chosen one here, which is an interesting and debatable kind of issue, even to a supporter of the Chicago Teachers Union. So they say that they named him because Chewy would not give them a date or say for sure he was running. I would say that it is still somewhat iffy because they have been planning. He's been their not so secret weapon for 4 years. But I will take them at their word that they did it because Chewy would not say for sure whether he was running or not.
Why do you think Chewy decided to get in the race when he's a congressman and getting, he's getting pretty well known on a lot of levels, and he's been kind of a kingmaker for local elections, various alder people and state representatives, et cetera. Why do you think he decided to make this move to get in, kind of seemingly at the last minute?
Well, the best thing I can say is that a certain generation or 2 or 3 of Chicagoans who lived through the Richard J. Daley era and saw the power and the strength that he wielded, often look upon the mayoralty of Chicago as a higher calling than being a congressman. We've had congressmen come back to be aldermen. The famous Roman Puczynski was a congressman who yearned to have a city job because alderman might lead to mayor. So we make light of this, but a lot of congressmen. There's another point there. If the Democrats had won the House of Representatives, and he could have been part of a working majority there, he says, I think, pretty clearly that he would not have run. and that because we lost power, we being the Democrats, although I consider myself an independent, uh, because he's in a minority position and is not going to be able to get much done. And this job, he could run for mayor and lose and still be a congressman.
Yeah.
So it's like a free opportunity. He didn't have to give up anything. A lot of people question it, though. It's a legitimate question. Why would you give that up to be mayor? It's the same reason many people give up being senator to run for governor. They think they can actually do more in that position than being part of a 200 and some member minority.
Don Rose, first I want to once again remind people that the election is February 28th. If someone doesn't get 50% plus one, it's April 4th is the runoff. I wanted to raise a question that I'm not getting a lot of response from people on about, some of us in the city pride ourselves on a kind of a rainbow coalition that helped elect Harold Washington, certainly Obama in some ways, where you're talking Black, white, Latinos, et cetera, working together. We saw a rift in the city council in LA between African Americans and Latinos. And I'm just wondering if how you see that we have candidates that are Black, white, and Latino, how that plays out. Can we keep it civil? It doesn't seem like Lori Lightfoot's, she's going after Chewy already, and not in a nice way. I'm just wondering your thoughts on the different ethnicities and races running against each other and how we keep it civil.
Well, other than Laurie's smear attacks on Chewy, which we can go into, but it's kind of complicated, it has been civil so far. The people are attacking Chewy, not in an evil way, but just the kind of question, you're a congressman. Why did you decide at the last minute to come in, blah, blah, blah. So that's a legitimate question and a legitimate attack. There are two other African-American candidates that I didn't mention, but it's worth pointing out. We have Cam Buckner, who is a very progressive state senator based in the Hyde Park area, the same area that Sophia King is. And we have Jamal Green, who is the youngest candidate, 27 years old, very creative guy, but his only experience is organizing demonstrations. And I think he's got a very good future. He shouldn't be starting at the top. He'd be, I think, a great alderman, with his ideas and where he is. I have a lot of respect for him, but I think he ain't ready for prime time yet. So anyway, the thing here is that the Black community is very divided here. We have Laurie has a base in it. Some people think that that's her biggest base. Willie Wilson got a lot of votes last time, and it seems to be getting them in the polls now. He is either the first or second largest accumulator of Black votes. Cam Buckner will get Black votes. Sophia King will get Black votes. Rod Sawyer will get Black votes. Jamal will get Black votes. The largest portions, of course, at the moment, and Brandon Johnson. So the Black vote is well scattered. Some activists are trying to get that, talk a few people to drop out of the race because it means that it's possible that there will not be a Black candidate in the runoff.
The runoff will be from the two highest receivers of votes. Let's switch to Vallis, because we haven't talked about him a lot. What makes him run? How did he, in his early days in the school, in working in schools, he was the superintendent of schools or whatever the technical term is. He I knew some people, progressives who worked for him. They used to like him. He seemed to shift. He got into charter schools. He went to other cities. He kind of failed a bunch of places. He's come back and has positioned himself pretty much as a kind of more conservative, law and order oriented guy. Talk a little bit about him.
Well, his best race was back in, I think, 2002 or thereabouts, when he was running for governor. He came in, third, but close in that race that Blagojevich won, and Roland Burris came in second. He is basically a budget guy. He's a very smart budget guy, whether you agree with everything he has to say. You've got to respect him as a budget guy. My feeling is he should not have been made the head of schools. He fell into the trap of what they were calling at the time education reform, which relied on expanding charter schools and high stakes testing. This did not endear him to the teachers union, to progressives such as myself, who really found them anti-public school and anti-student. Much rather, build a better public education system than deplete it with charter schools. But that's an old argument. But it's one he fell into, and I think he fell into it and embraced it strongly because he was not really an educator. And he became interested in furthering his power. He ran for governor, and then he started running for different offices. He left Chicago. He left a school system that was not much better than when he took it over. I frankly was not wild about Arnie Duncan in that same position later, because it was the same problem. A decent guy, but not an educator, and fell back into the trap of so-called education reform. That's a whole other issue. You can be pretty sure that if Chewy wins, if Brandon Johnson wins, even if Laurie wins, we're not going to go back into that in our school system. So that being said,
well, Don, we're gonna run out of time. Let me just I've invited you already, and I think you agreed that in the next couple of weeks you'll come on again and give us some analysis of where the race is at. We look forward to that. And who would you predict are the two highest vote getters in this February 28th election?
I believe they will be Chuy Garcia and Paul Vallis at the moment. I think Laurie has hurt herself more and will likely wind up in third, conceivably even fourth place, but I think third place. And Vallis, by virtue of being the conservative, the white with that conservative base in Chicago and some money, will overcome his personality defects that have kept him in low digits previously.
Don Rose, thanks a lot. You're always great to hear. I like seeing you. I like seeing you in person too. I miss that. It's been a little bit of time. Let's do that.